All right, welcome to today's video. Video, I'm going to show you how to make little fuzzy flower centers. And we're going to be using the Painted Poppies stamp set along with the Painted Labels dies. And I do have an online class for this bundle of products. It's only $20. You can purchase it via the link down in the description box. And then you can check out all my other online classes that I have as well. And stay tuned. At the end of the video, I am going to have a few more cards to show you using different colors. All right, here's the supplies that we're going to need to make this card. I have an 8.5 by 5.5 layer of Coastal Cabana for my card base, a 4 by 5.25 inch layer of Coastal Cabana to do a little embossing, 1.5 by 5.5 strip of Whisper White, and then I have a scrap of white, scrap of Poppy Parade, and a 1/2 inch strip for my sentiment. All right, so I'm going to do a little bit of stamping first so we can go take this over to the die cutting machine. So I am going to be, of course, using the Painted Poppy stamp set along with the Painted Labels dies. And I'm going to get myself one of these out of Poppy Parade. I'm going to stamp my flower on the Whisper White, and I'm going to die cut that. And then I'm going to emboss this with the Coastal Weave embossing folder from our Occasions catalog, and my particular machine uses the embossing plate with this type of a folder. So I have a big shot, I have my platform, I'll use my folder, and then my plate. So let's get some of the stamping done on what we need to die cut. I need to die cut a flower here, so I'm going to open up my Coastal Cabana and my Poppy Parade, and I'm going to ink up my large flower in the Poppy Parade and just get stamped right there. Then I'm going to ink up my I call this a blob image in Coastal Cabana, and then I'm going to stamp it off one time because I just re-inked my pads, and so it's a little dark for what I'm looking for, so I'm going to stamp that over the top. All right, so I'm going to go die cut this. I'm going to get my circle, my swirly circle. I'm going to emboss this with the Coastal Weave, and then I'm also going to get a stitched circle from my Stitched Shapes framelit. So let me go do all that, and I'll be right back. All right, here we are. And I am going to put these away for just a moment. All right, so we are going to now attempt to make our little fuzzy flower center. So what I have is I've got some of this is the Country Club twine combo pack, and it's 4 different colors of our baker's twine, and I'm using the Poppy Parade here. And if you twist the twine, you can unravel it. Okay, so I've got a chunk here, and I'm just going to untwist it, I guess, and separate out these strands. It takes a couple minutes, and it's also depending how long your strands are, that can also take a little bit longer. So this one is a pretty long strand, so I could cut it in half, and then it would be a little bit easier. And I'm also going to separate these little strands that are in here as well. There's 4 of them, just because I want them to be a little bit fluffier. So I've got those 4, and then these 4 here. Okay, so now I can get them all together. They don't have to be even or anything. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I am going to take my 1/2 inch circle punch, and I'm going to punch out a 1/2 inch circle out of my Poppy Parade. This is what the color of my flower middle is going to be, and I'm going to put it on one of my silicone mats. And I'm going to add some liquid glue to it. Just trying to cover the whole thing. Almost lost that little sucker. There we go. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip very small sections of this. Can you see all those little tiny? I'm just snipping, just very minute pieces off of all these little strands. And a lot of them are landing on my glue, which is exactly where I want them to go. The ones that don't, I will pick up in a little bit, and then I will kind of sprinkle them over the top. But my pieces are super small. You can probably see how tiny they are on the silicone mat there. And of course you want to get like more than you actually need, because then you can really fill that in. And what's really great about this is you can do it in any color twine that you may have, or you can even dye twine to be whatever color you want. So then I'm just going to kind of, as I've got all these little goodies around here, I'm going to pick them up and sprinkle them over and kind of, you know, gently press them into place. So I'm covering the whole thing. See a little bit of white spot there where I could maybe use a little bit more. So I'm just going to go in there and cut some more off. And I want it to be overkill because obviously I'm not going to have glue everywhere. I mean, as this is getting thick, but I want most of these little strands to stick to my glue. Okay, so this is what I have. Just this cute little fuzzy blob, more blobs. And I'm just going to set this aside to dry. So I'll just put that over here on my surface. And then I'm just going to take this and shake it into my trash can. And then they all come off. So while that's drying, we can do some more stamping. So I'm going to bring in back in the Coastal Cabana and the Poppy Parade. And I'm going to start with my Poppy Parade on the smaller flower. And I'm just going to stamp randomly these flowers, kind of covering the whole sheet. You know, some will be full, some will be partials. Come back down here, fill in where we may have missed some. Okay, then I'm going to come in with this little small splatter image, and I'm going to ink that up in the Coastal Cabana. And then I'm just going to stamp it as like I'm coloring in the leaves of this. Okay. And just get them all. And of course you can see I am not like being perfect. I am just being very random. I'm just tapping it once into my ink and then just tapping it back onto the paper wherever there's a space for it. Okay, like that. And then this large splatter I'm going to bring in. I'm going to stamp it, and I'm going to stamp it off once. And then I'm just going to kind of over stamp everything else. And then this piece here, I've already got it done. So I die cut it, and then I just added some little darker spots on there. So now we can go ahead and do the assembly, except I do need my sentiment piece. And I think I'm going to use Poppy Parade. We'll see what it looks like. So here is one of my sentiment. I'm using the Itty Bitty Birthday stamp set, and I have chosen the Happy Day stamp out of that. And so I'm inking it up in the Poppy Parade, and I'm going to stamp it on this little strip here. This is, I think, a 1/2 inch. That looks pretty dang good, so we're going to let that dry just a sec while we do our assembly. Okay, I'm going to move all my stamps out of the way so I don't make a mess. So the first thing I'm going to do is add, of course, my background piece, and this is the Coastal Weave folder. And anytime I do embossing, I do like to use liquid glue. I just find that it holds a lot better than tape runners like snail or anything else. So I just really like that. So we'll center this on the front here. There we go. And then this little guy is just going to be ran across the center. So we'll add some glue. Since I'm adding this to an embossed piece, I do need this to be, I use liquid glue on that too. And I'm going to use my grid paper to line this up. So top of the card will be at the line on the grid paper. And then we're just going to kind of guesstimate what the center point is here. So this happens to be between 2 squares, and I think that will work. Press that into place. Is it too long? Nope. Looks like we cut her just right. Then we're going to add our stitched circle to our little swirly circle. And there's a bunch of stitching lines inside that red, or that Poppy Parade circle, so I'm just kind of lining my other circle up with that. And then my flower is going to go on with some dimensionals. Pop that up a little bit. Okay, so we'll get that right on the circle. And now our little fuzzy friend should be ready here. And so some of the little pieces on the edges will come off. You can always take some scissors if you want and just kind of trim off the excess bits. You don't have to. And then we're just going to add this to the center of the flower here with some liquid glue. Isn't that fun? Oh my gosh, I just love this idea. All right, and then we have our happy day. So I'm not sure how we want that. Probably just going to have it slide out from our circle here. So something like that. So I'm going to trim this down. So I'm going to bring in my little tiny desktop trimmer that you can only get right now when you join Stampin' Up! As a demonstrator. So keep that in mind. And if you have any questions, I would love to answer them for you. You can email me, barb@barbstamps.com. Or you can just head to my website and sign up if you are ready, because you get $125 worth of merchandise, plus the trimmer, plus a designer series paper stack, plus a stamp set of your choice, plus a paper pumpkin kit. And you pay $99 plus tax, and you get, it's about $220 value. So it's a great deal. Okay. So I'm going to add this in the center of our stamped layer. So about like that. And then we will add some liquid glue to this circle here. And then we'll just add that kind of straddling the centerpiece there. And there we go. And then I wanted to bring in, I have some other cards that I did using the same technique, but please subscribe to my channel right down here so you can be notified when I upload new videos, and then click that little notification bell and give the video a thumbs up if you're enjoying it. I'm hoping you're learning something that's a lot of fun. Here's some more cards that I've done using the same technique. So here is one that I did using Grapefruit Grove and Night of Navy. So my Grapefruit Grove comes out of the Nature's Twine package, and the Night of Navy I pulled out of this twine here. This is the Night of Navy Sahara Sand Baker's Twine. It kind of goes along with our sailing home sailboat stamps and dies. So I did the same thing. I just twisted these strands apart, pulled out the Night of Navy, got a few of those, and then just cut them with the Grapefruit Grove. This one here, I used the same twine and did the crumb cake. So I've got that one, and they all use the same stamp set, the Itty Bitty Birthdays, which I thought was fun. Basically the exact same card, just different embossing folders. So I've got the quilted folder on this one. I've got the brick wall folder on this one. We have the So Scripty on this one, and this one uses the Blackberry Bliss from, so I used all the colors in this package to make some of these cards. And then we've got the sentiment, and I did bring in some of our petal pink rhinestones that match Blushing Bride perfectly. So I hope you guys enjoyed my video today. So please give it a thumbs up, like I said, and subscribe to my channel. And I would appreciate your orders at shoppingwithbarb.com. I've got a host code every month, and I've got free gifts with purchase. So thanks again, and have a great day.